The Boston Celtics are standing at a crossroads, and the next decision in the front office could define the entire future of the franchise. A new trade rumor has ignited the league, and it is gaining force because it seems to fix a structural flaw that has been hurting Boston since the start of the season. The possible exchange of Anthony Simons for Nick Claxton is no longer just an idea. It is rapidly becoming one of the most viable and realistic scenarios to immediately unlock Boston's roster and strengthen Jaylen Brown's pursuit of another championship run. If you are already sensing the weight of this, then get ready, because what comes next could reshape this team from the inside out. Before we get into the details of why this move could be the turning point the Celtics have been missing, make sure to drop a like, subscribe to the channel, and click the hype button so you do not miss anything from now on. The Celtics desperately need reliability at the center position. Losing Jason Tatum to a torn Achilles tendon, watching Al Horford walk in free agency, and trading both Drew Holiday and Kristaps Porzingis in a cost-cutting push have put Boston in a position where talent is not the problem, but structure is. Jaylen Brown is playing at a superstar level, yet the roster around him is thinner than it should be. And that is exactly why Nick Claxton has become a name that refuses to go away. He is 26 years old, still improving, and under a front-loaded 4-year contract worth $97 million. He makes $25,352,272 next season, then decreasing figures in the following years, which is rare value for a defensive anchor with playmaking ability. Here is where the mental trigger kicks in. Boston does not want to lose financial flexibility. Yet Anthony Simons is owed $27,678,571 in an expiring contract. In other words, a one-for-one swap cuts more than $2 million in the current cap hit. It brings a long-term answer at center, and it sends to the Nets a proven scorer who could instantly join Michael Porter Jr. and become a replacement for Cam Thomas. There is logic, there is value, there is clear mutual benefit, and the draft compensation Boston can add becomes the final push. The Nets have gambled before. It would not be the first time. Nick Claxton is not just a rebounder. He is a rare modern big who blocks shots, switches on guards, runs the floor, finishes above the rim, and facilitates offense from the inside. 14.6 points, 7.3 rebounds, 3.9 assists, 1.4 blocks, 0.8 steals, and 3 offensive rebounds per game. Almost 60% from the field. He does everything Boston is missing. And he is doing that while the Nets hold a record of only 2 wins and 12 losses, a situation that is wasting his prime years and diminishing his impact on a team that is not even close to fighting for the playoffs. This brings us to the moment of truth. The Celtics want to win now. Nick Claxton wants a winning environment. Anthony Simons brings instant offense to a Brooklyn team that needs scoring. The financial math fits. The on-court fit is obvious. The momentum around the rumor is growing by the day, and yet the move has not been made, which raises an urgent question that could flip the entire season. Will Boston take the risk of long-term salary to secure the perfect defensive partner for Jaylen Brown and transform a playoff roster into a title contender? Or will hesitation once again cost this team the one opportunity that changes everything? The Boston Celtics are running out of time to fix the biggest structural problem on the roster. The center position has become the glaring weakness of a team that wants to compete at the highest level. Neemias Queta has worked hard and earned respect, but everyone knows he was never supposed to be the permanent anchor of a championship contender. And now, a 3-team trade proposal has shaken the league because it does one thing that Boston has failed to do since the departure of Kristaps Porzingis. It brings a long-term solution for the middle of the floor. The name that has taken over headlines is Daniel Gafford, and the price, at least on paper, is shocking in the best possible way. The proposal would send Daniel Gafford to Boston while generating a trade exception worth $27,700,000 through the departure of Anthony Simons. Dallas would receive Simons and Haywood Highsmith. Brooklyn would collect Klay Thompson, Dwight Powell, the rights to Yam Matter, a second-round pick in the year 2026 from Boston, a second-round pick in the year 2030 via the Philadelphia 76ers from Dallas, a second-round pick in the year 2031 via the Houston Rockets from Boston, plus $3,980,000 from Dallas and the same amount from Boston. When you strip the trade to its essentials, Boston pays Simons, the rights to Matter, 2 future second-rounders and cash in exchange for a physical, athletic, playoff-proof center who fits perfectly beside Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. That is not just value. That is an opportunity. Gafford changes the geometry of the court. He is a lob threat who plays above the rim. He protects the basket with size and motor. He switches on pick and roll without becoming a liability. He gives Boston something the team has not had since Robert Williams was healthy: a true vertical weapon. And the front office knows that the timing is critical because the Celtics are trying to get $1,200,000 under the tax threshold to escape the repeater penalty. That detail alone adds pressure. It adds urgency. It adds a sense that this move is not only smart basketball, it is smart financial engineering. When you combine production and cap relief in a single transaction, the conversation becomes impossible to ignore. And yet, this is where everything becomes more intense. The Celtics won a championship in the year 2024 with a perimeter-oriented big man. But Gafford represents a shift, a new identity, a style that builds on physical dominance at the rim instead of spacing from the 5 spot. The decision behind closed doors is clear. Stick with the old blueprint or evolve. Tatum and Brown already know what it is like to thrive with an above-the-rim center. The blueprint is not unfamiliar. The question is whether Brad Stevens is ready to commit to a different kind of frontcourt and accept that this could be the missing piece that unlocks the entire roster. So the tension builds. The market has opened. The offer is on the table. The fit makes sense. The logic is undeniable. And the clock is ticking while other contenders hunt for size and defense. The Celtics have never been closer to solving their center problem once and for all, which leaves one final question that could define the season. Will Boston pull the trigger on Daniel Gafford and take control of the title race? Or will hesitation let another team steal the exact solution the Celtics have been searching for since day one? The Boston Celtics have reached a breaking point in their season. They are surviving without Jason Tatum. They are competing every night, but survival is not the target. The clock is moving toward December 15th, the day when most of the league becomes trade eligible, and the feeling around the NBA is that Boston will not sit still. The front office knows the roster has potential, yet something is missing. And now, one idea has taken over trade discussions because it does something that changes the entire outlook of the franchise. It lands a 3-time All-Star while creating major salary relief. That combination does not appear often. And when it does, contenders are forced to make decisions that may define everything. Anthony Simons and his expiring contract worth $27 million has become the center of Boston's flexibility. He was brought in to relieve pressure from Jaylen Brown and Derek White, and there have been nights where he looked like a perfect fit. Nearly 14 points per game, more than 40% shooting from the field, close to 40% from deep. His 25-point first half against the Orlando Magic showed his ceiling. His 12-minute outing against the Los Angeles Clippers showed his inconsistency. When the ball moves, he thrives. When the game slows, he struggles. His impact matters in the rotation, but his contract matters even more on the trade market. That is why insiders believe Boston is heading in one specific direction. If the Celtics want to protect the roster financially while improving talent and depth, Simons becomes the cleanest mechanism. A trade built around him reduces pressure on the tax, helps balance the roster, and opens the door to adding a veteran player who fits the timeline of Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. And this is where the attention has shifted. The ideal target is not a young project. The ideal target is not a role player. The ideal target is a 3-time All-Star who can help win right now. A player who instantly raises Boston's ceiling without breaking draft capital or forcing the core to be touched. When a scenario like that enters discussions, it becomes impossible to ignore. The urgency inside the franchise is real. The Celtics remember what happened when they waited too long to solve the center position in previous seasons. They remember how close roster balance came to costing them playoff success. And today, the conversation is even clearer. They are financially trapped unless something changes. They are talent-heavy on the perimeter and thin in experience in the frontcourt. They need someone who can dictate playoff pace, someone who attracts defensive attention, someone who does not disappear when games become physical. A 3-time All-Star does exactly that. And it may be the only path to maximizing this season instead of waiting for another year of development. Now the stage is set. The contract exists. The pressure exists. The window exists. And the opportunity to add a 3-time All-Star while saving several $1 million in salary is in front of the team. So the tension becomes unavoidable. Will the Celtics act and bring in the kind of player who instantly elevates their championship chances? Or will hesitation give another contender the chance to steal the move that should belong to Boston? If you want this discussion to reach more people, make sure to like this video, hit subscribe, and click the hype button right now.